AFR On Demand is brought to you by Breck Golf. Try Beaver Creek today, just 20 minutes from downtown Baton Rouge in the Zachary area. They've got a PGA Tour driving range, a short game practice area, 30 to 40-yard practice shots. It's a great place to chip and putt and practice if you don't have time for a full round. Book your tee time today, golf.breck.org, golf.breck.org.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
Live from the Raising Cane studio.
Let's ride!
Hour 2, off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. AFR powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana. I'm Matt.
You're a loser, Matt!
Shut up, kid. Paul O'Neill.
They're chanting Paul O'Neill's name.
You. So. And Mr. Toby Time Play. All right, we're here. Glad you are as well. Get out there and make it a good one. Brandon Taylor here in 15 minutes from right now. We'll look forward to that conversation, talk a little bit about LSU's defense, particular the safety play, which has been outstanding this year, how LSU has climbed back into the title of that moniker of DBU. We'll talk with BT here in 15 minutes. Todd McClure, 1 hour from right now. New Orleans Saints are getting ready to head to Chicago to take on the Bears. Bears got a win on Monday Night Football against the Washington Commanders. Walk-off field goal there at the end. Unfortunately, Jaden Daniels' fumble cost his team. But the Saints are looking at two different strategies here. The team presently is preparing to go with their 1-5 record on the road to Chicago to try to figure out a way to win a game. And the organization is trying to figure out a way for this team to win moving forward. Well, the trade deadline is fast approaching, coming up on November the 4th. So a little less than a month. You're about 3 weeks away from the NFL trade deadline. And a season ago, New Orleans was very active at the trade deadline. And as we know, they dealt Marshawn Lattimore to the Washington Commanders. So my opinion, I think you all know where I stand on this. The Saints are not in any position to win now. Very clear at 1-5. And if you have a way to purge veteran assets that are not going to be part of your long-term rebuild, and you can get assets that would be both younger and more cost-effective, then you do it. If you can send Marshawn Lattimore to Washington for a second-round pick, absolutely. So you look at the roster and who's available. Well, Adam Schefter has a list that he posted of potential trade candidates. These are potential players that front office executive coaches could be available ahead of the trade deadline. So there's some names that are big names that are pretty obvious. Like Kirk Cousins is at the top of the list, right? The Falcons have committed to Michael Penix. Could they move Cousins if the price is right? Quite honestly, I don't know why Cincinnati hasn't already made that call. They traded for Flacco. Maybe they did make the call. They didn't like the price tag. But, I mean, if you're trying to hold this thing together until Burrow comes back, that would have made a ton of sense, but whatever. Russell Wilson's also on that list. Breece Hall. Alvin Kamara is on the list, according to Adam Schefter. But he's not the only Saint. Chris Olave, Rashid Shaheed, Brandon Cooks is on that list as well, as is Cameron Jordan. So it's a complex conversation to have because you have to weigh several different things. Number one, do these veteran players, most notably Kamara and Cam Jordan, do they want to be traded? Now, for whatever it is worth, Ian Rappaport with NFL Media has a report out there that New Orleans is getting calls about Kamara, but Kamara has told Mickey Loomis that he wants to remain a Saint for the remainder of his franchise, he wants to remain with the franchise for the remainder of his career. Remember, last year, Kamara signed a 2-year, $24.5 million deal, signed it in October. So he has signed through 2026. It was an extension on last year's deal. So he's got under contract for 25 and 26. So before next year, Kamara will have a decision to make. Does he want to play beyond 2026? Does he want to play 2026? I don't know. But the thing that Mickey Loomis reportedly, according to Rappaport, did was he was very proactive. So as to say, he went to Kamara to say, hey, look, we're getting calls about you. Are you interested in us trying to put a deal together? Do you want to go? Would you want to go? And Kamara, according to the report from Rappaport, wants to stay in New Orleans. He's 30 years old, averaging 4 yards a carry. And it would be one of those things where it would gut you to see Alvin Kamara playing in a different uniform. But I also look and I say, man, we saw Johnny Unitas play with the Chargers, man. Tom Brady played for the Bucks. Emmitt Smith played for the Cardinals. Jerry Rice was a Seahawk and a Raider and a Bronco. I think he was with the Broncos too, wasn't he? He bounced around a bunch at the end of his career. The point is, like, if some of the greatest players in the history of the sport play for different teams at the end of their career, so too can Alvin Kamara. But if he wants to remain a Saint and it's fiscally reasonable for him to do so, then you keep him. Cam Jordan is an interesting one as well because, he's one where the contract for Cam Jordan doesn't really preclude you from moving on after this season. So, and it doesn't do you much good, actually, to move on from him right now. Next year, he's an unrestricted free agent. Cam Jordan is. And so he's got a $9 million cap hit. His dead number is 28. So, yeah, you take a little bit of a ding this year, but it doesn't really matter. You would eat that against your cap this year because you're not actively trying to win right now anyway. You've got $6 million in cap space. No, forgive me, I'm sorry, that's Cam's cash this year. But the point being, it wouldn't devastate you if you moved on from Cam and you were able to get an asset. The question is, does he want to finish his career in New Orleans, or does he want to have an opportunity to go somewhere else to try to win at the end? This happened with J.J. Watt. He was a Houston Texan. He's the greatest defensive player in the history of that organization. He was such a great asset to the city of Houston. But at the end of his career, the Texans said, hey, look, do you want to go somewhere where you have a chance to win while we rebuild? And so he went to Arizona, and it didn't work out. They didn't win. But he took a swing at trying to get a ring at the end of his career. And Cam can, go down on this sinking ship and stay a Saint forever if he wants to. Or there's the possibility he could go to a contending team as a rotational piece and try to get on a playoff run and win a championship. And there's a lot of teams that would take a veteran Cam Jordan who could maybe give you 30 really productive snaps a game, 20 to 30 snaps a game, and a great leader in the locker room, someone with a ton of experience and who's been on teams that have gone on playoff runs before. There's value to that for a team trying to win right now. It's not a long-term commitment. They're in a similar mode to what the Saints were in for a lot of years, but aren't anymore. I think the receivers are actually far more interesting. If Kamara wants to stay and Cam wants to stay, they're going to stay. But the receivers are more interesting because you got Chris Olave, Rashid Shaheed, and Brandon Cooks. You picked up the fifth-year option on Olave for next year. And listen, I've spoken my piece on Chris Olave. That's a guy that's not a number one and does not need to be paid like a number one. If that's what he's seeking, then you picked up the fifth-year option, so he's here next year. But after that, then he's leaving in free agency if you're not going to pay him what he wants. And the Saints have had this hard and fast rule about not going. It's so weird for a team that's so fiscally irresponsible. They end up standing true to their principles when it comes to their free agents. They have a number set, and they're not going to go over it. And so you saw guys like Marcus Williams and Mark Ingram leave the organization over relative pennies on the dollar because the Saints wouldn't budge over the number they wanted. They were willing to pay. So if you can get real honest with Olave's representation right now about what he thinks he's going to command on the open market, and if you don't agree, then trade him. And I get that it might sting to see a former first-round pick walk out the door for a day 3 pick or something along those lines, 4, 5, 6, whatever it may be. But you would rather get something for him than watch him walk in free agency eventually, which is probably going to happen, which I actually hope happens instead of watching New Orleans invest number 1 wide receiver money into a guy that's clearly not. Brandon Cooks is old. Someone wants to give you something for him, great. He's made an almost non-existent impact on your offense so far through 6 games. And totally shocking. Who could have seen that coming? We talked about it all offseason. He's the same receiver as Shaheed and Olave. He's the same. He's the same size. He's older, and he's been less productive in the last 2 years. But that's the guy you went and signed. I screamed at the top of my lungs about letting Marquez Valdez-Scantling walk away, and instead you went and paid more money for an older receiver who was less productive and the same size as the guys you already got. If someone's willing to give you anything at all for Brandon Cooks, take it. He's got 13 catches for 124 yards so far through 6 games on 13 targets. On 17 targets. Yes. Someone's going to give you something for Cooks, take it. I don't think it's going to happen because only the New Orleans Saints would have signed Brandon Cooks at his age and his productivity to a multi-year contract. So it's almost impossible to think someone's going to give you an asset for an aging veteran player that you signed to a multi-year deal. Again, that's the downside of having awful front office leadership and management when you sign aging, declining players to multi-year deals. Stupid. So I don't think you're going to get anything for Cooks. The real player that might have value is Shaheed. You signed Shaheed to a 1-year deal. And remember, he was coming off injury. So you signed him to a 1-year deal. And that's a guy that if he keeps playing at the level he is, he's got 26 catches already for 316 and 2 scores. He's a true deep threat. If Rashid Shaheed and the New Orleans Saints right now are on different planets for what they think he's going to be worth after the season when he hits free agency, that's one where I think you have to look at saying, can we trade this guy? Could we trade this guy to a contending team? And then listen, when he hits free agency after the season, maybe you make a run at him. Or the team that might trade for him would probably try to lock him up in a long-term deal. It would probably be part of the trade. But Shaheed is the one that actually has real value. He's a home run hitter on offense. He's a tough dude. He's young. Like, Shaheed is the guy that I think would actually have some real trade value. He's 27. You would just have to decide, do you want Shaheed to be a cornerstone piece of what you're building for the future? Like, are you willing to invest a 4 or 5 year deal into Rashid Shaheed north of 15, 20 million per? And if that's the case, you're going to give Shaheed $75 million, then okay. But if not, then he's probably going to go test free agency. And before you let him do that, get something for him, for the investment you've made in him. And that's the handful of players you're keeping an eye on, but the one that would seem to have the most value in a trade situation would be Rashid Shaheed. Again, November 4th is the trade deadline. We're going to keep an eye on it. Ross Jackson's going to be here 1 hour from right now. I'm going to ask him about all this. He got a big piece coming up at LouisianaSports.net elaborating on all of this stuff. So we'll get Ross's opinion here in just a little bit. Tuesday shows are powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana. Hey, I love telling you about Arco. Arco Power Systems, ARCCO, arco.com, arco.com, arco.com. This is industrial generator power. These are not residential generators. This is not your home standby generator. This is generator power for your business. Think about it. When power goes out, what happens to your business? Well, Arco Power Systems makes sure you have the answer to that question. It's critical backup energy solutions for the industrial sector. It's Arco Power Systems. They can sell you a generator and permanently install it. They can rent you a generator, or they can service your generator. And they're everywhere. By the way, it's not just for storms. Think about events. You got a big concert event, a big event coming up where you need generator power, a fair, whatever the case may be. You need big generator power. They can bring these portable generators to your event. It's Arco Power Systems. Their home base is in Baton Rouge and Airline Highway. But you look at the many different locations. I mean, from San Antonio, Austin, Houston, Dallas, Little Rock, all over Louisiana, east to Mobile. It's Arco Power Systems, arco.com, arco.com, ARCCO, arco.com. All right, it's after further review. We're not got a quick break. Former Tiger safety Brandon Taylor, former number 18. He'll join us, talk a little LSU defense at secondary, how they've improved so dramatically here in year 2 under Blake Baker. Certainly helps to have good talent, which they do. But we'll talk to BT about it next. Stay with us here. It's AFR.
AFR.
If you're thinking of selling your home, your first call should be to Darren James. 335-7666, 335-7666, 335-7666, or agent225.com. That's agent225.com. As a matter of fact, even before you call Darren, your first move should probably be to go to the website, agent225.com. Recently redesigned and with one of the coolest tools on the website that you'll find in real estate. If you go to agent225.com, do it right now. Grab your phone, or if you're sitting at your, like if you're driving, don't do this. But if you're sitting at your desk or you're at home, whatever it may be, go to your desktop, grab your phone, type in agent225.com, agent225.com. There's a home value tool. Just scroll down, you see it right there. Type in your address. Just type in your address, hit enter, and it'll use local market data to give you an accurate value of your home right now. Agent225.com for Darren James.
Think real estate, think Darren James.
After further review, powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana.
We thought we got the best corner in the portal, and he is playing to that level. And, you know, you hope that you've made a good decision in vetting out all of the opportunities that are there. But he has delivered. He's purposeful in his work. He is fearless in his preparation, and then plays fearless with no fear in the game because he knows he can do it. That's a great mix for a corner.
Brian Kelly meeting with reporters on Monday talking about Mansour Delane, and he said in the offseason, Delane had gotten a third-round grade from the NFL but wanted to come to school in the SEC and try to earn a first-round draft pick grade, which seemingly is well on his way to doing. Brandon Taylor, former number 18. You hear him now on the LSU Sports Radio Network with Hunt and Marlon Favor right there on game days. BT, great to have you, man. How are you?
What's going on, Matt? Everything going good on my end.
Yeah, man. Tigers are 5-1. People are griping a little bit, but every goal is in play, and a big part of that, of course, is the defense. You and I talked a lot last year about a lot of the struggles they had. I'm going to ask you one that might seem like an easy answer, BT, but how were they able to improve so dramatically from last year to this year in the secondary?
I just think it was just vetting players the proper way and just not just going to grab anybody, and vetting like safeties and corners that complement each other, and they complement the rest of the defense as well.
Very clearly, it was a talent upgrade, right? I mean,
most definitely.
Mansour Delane, AJ Halsey, Tamarcus Cooley, they've all been great. When you look at Delane, what stands out most to you?
Just his maturity and confidence as a player. The way he plays, like, relaxed, and he never gets flustered or he doesn't panic as a DB. The worst thing you could do as a defensive back is panic, especially when the ball is in the air. He doesn't make many pass interferences or many mistakes, and it's hard to do that for a complete game, and the fact that he can do that just separates him from the rest of the back.
Hey, BT, it's hard to commit a pass interference when they don't throw your way either, dog.
Most definitely.
Nobody throws at it, though. I mean, it's incredible. He just goes to sleep on the other side of the field, basically.
Oh, yeah, but, man, I mean, it's a gift and a curse, but because you don't get much action, but when you prepare yourself for that, that lets you know, like, the maturity level of that individual. Yeah. Like, the fact that he can handle that and not get frustrated or anything or something like that, it's almost like a badge of honor that people show you that type of respect. But it has been earned.
And you got pretty fired up last year. Remember we were talking about safety play, which, for being honest, man, for as long as I've covered this team, that was probably as poor a safety play as I've seen at LSU. AJ Halsey almost single-handedly has flipped that around. What makes him so effective at what he does?
He stays square, and he slow plays everything. And a defensive back, the one thing you want to do is play with a square body and slow play everything. That way you're not overrunning things or making missteps or like you don't want to hesitate. He doesn't hesitate as a player. Like he slow plays everything, and then when it's time to react, he reacts and he gets there with a bad attitude. And that's all you can ask for from a good safety and a defensive backup playing for LSU.
Does he remind you, his playing style remind you of anyone, BT? Because I'm going to tell you, first time I laid eyes on him when we went out to practice, he kind of looks more like a linebacker than a safety. You wouldn't look. I didn't look and go like, oh, that's the safety they got from Houston. What stands out to you about him?
It's almost like he's sneaky fast. Like it's not like you see him like lightning fast, like he's just out there just hauling ass or anything like that. But he gets there, and when he does get there, he covers a lot of ground, and you don't see him like giving up many big plays or anything like that. And I just love the way the kid plays. It's just a relaxing thing about him. Like you feel relaxed seeing and knowing that he's on the field.
6 foot 222. I mean, he's a solid safety, man. Just looking at the way he's built. Brandon Taylor's our guest. One of the things that you said, like was, would you say playing centered or squared? What did you say was key to playing safety? How did you say it?
Oh, just staying square.
Square,
most people you see there, if I know for a fact, the one thing that Coach John Chavis always told me, he said, if I see you getting out of that box, knowing that you covering the safety, and I know he can't outrun you, and you know he can't outrun you, why are you not slow playing things like that? You eliminating yourself from making certain plays, like treating a tight end like a wide receiver if you know you can't outrun you. So the fact that he can do that and just keep his body square and be able to take any type of angle to eliminate any type of missteps is key in that backfield.
So, BT, what happened go back to Saturday, that 72-yard run by Matt Fuller. What happened on that play?
I just think they got out leveraged, and it's just one of them plays. I call it paying your taxes as a defense. I mean, they bound to get one. Those guys are D1 players. They're going to get theirs at some point in time, but it's just eliminating it from happening multiple times, and that's what they came out and did in the second half. It's just one of them things. You took a bad angle, and put it like this. That running back probably would have done that to me because he was a whole lot faster than what I thought he was. Cause I seen Monsieur Delane trying to make up some ground on him, and that boy just hit a second gear.
Man, Cooley had a shot at him, went high, missed him, and then you're right. It was a foot race, and he outran Monsieur Delane. How do you this week as a defense? Brandon Taylor's with us here for a couple more minutes. How do you as a defense this week deal with Diego Pavia with his ability to run and pass?
And truth be told, I'm going to be God honest. This probably one of the games that scared me the most this year is this Vanderbilt team because they score in bunches and volumes, and he's just, as a quarterback, you can't never count him out, and you can't never count him down. And the scheme that they run offensively is a lot of misdirection. And the one thing that's like kind of the kryptonite to a fast defense is misdirection. So you have to be honest and play with your eyes and read your keys, and everybody has to stay home and put when you're playing against an offense like this.
BT, last year, one of the big bugaboos we talked about so much was LSU struggled with the running quarterbacks, right? If it was Jalen Milroe or Marcel Reed at Texas A&M, when they played Vanderbilt, they really did like an outstanding job in that game. LSU won it 24-17. And by and large, man, they kept Diego Pavia in check. He only threw for 186, and he ran 6 times for 43 yards, and one of those was a 36-yarder. So aside from the 36-yarder, they really bottled him up. So what did they do so effectively last year? How did they replicate it?
First of all, we have to give them a good gap as far as the offense and score over 20 points because this Vanderbilt team, they score points. Like, Let's not take this lightly. This is not the Vanderbilt of old. This is a capital V, not a lowercase v now. So this is a different type of Vanderbilt team, and they got a swagger with them. Like, so we're going to have to give our defense some type of leeway, but we have to win the turnover battle in this game. It's we won last year when we played against Vanderbilt, and I think that's what separated us from them.
All right. Hey, one more for you. Not to bring back a bad memory, but LSU lost 2 weeks ago to Ole Miss. What was your takeaway defensively and what happened in that game where they were on the field for so long?
We got outcoached. You can't put nothing around it. Like, you got to understand who was in that press box and who was on that sideline for Ole Miss, and they couldn't have dialed it up any better than that. Like, you just if it's 1v1, they 1v1 as far as the coaches. They beat us, like, hands down. You can't argue about it. You just that one right there, you chunk it up, you take your L, and you see them in the playoffs or you see them in the SEC championship.
Man, I would love to see that game again. Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Give me that. Give me a do-over in that game, man. God, I would love to see a do-over in that game.
That's what you come here for. Like, you can see them again. I would wear that badge of honor like none other.
Brandon Taylor, former Tiger great, number 18. You hear him on the LSU Sports Radio Network with Hunt Palmer and Big Fave, Marlon Favorite. BT, we always appreciate the time, man. Thanks for a few minutes.
All right, Matt. Appreciate you.
All right, man. Be well. It's After Further Review. We're brought to you by Relief Windows and ReliefWindows.com. Windows, doors, siding. Oh, yeah. They do shutters as well. Relief Windows and ReliefWindows.com. It's energy-efficient replacement windows, beautiful entry doors, hardy plank, vinyl siding. They do it all. They do it better than anyone. And I'm fond of saying, listen, if you want to go get a bunch of quotes and call a bunch of companies to see who's going to give you the best price, or the cheapest price, I should say, remember what your mama told you. You get what you pay for. Someone's cheaper, probably a reason they're cheaper. With Relief Windows, they're never going to be the cheapest. I'm just telling you right now. If you call around to shop price to see who's going to give you the lowest price, that will never be Relief Windows. It can't be. They invest too much into their business. They have measure techs that specifically measure to make sure the windows that come to your house are specifically exactly made to the specifications of your home. They have install crews to make sure you have an expert installation so nothing goes wrong there. They have service teams, not their installers, a whole separate service department just to service you if something ever goes wrong. They do offer a true lifetime transferable warranty. Some companies can talk about their warranty. Have they been around long enough to validate if it's a lifetime transferable warranty? Relief Windows has. So, you want the best experience, the best service, the best product, the best all of it? You want Relief Windows. 288-8138, 288-8138, or ReliefWindows.com. Windows, door, siding, they do shutters as well. ReliefWindows.com. All right, y'all, halfway home here on a Tuesday edition of AFR Powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana. Mel Kiper has got his first big board out. Where is Garrett Nussmeier among the quarterbacks? Lots of number one overall buzz before the season. So far, halfway through his fifth year senior season, where does Mel Kiper have? We'll get to that when we come back. Todd McClure in 30 minutes. Talk about LSU offensive line play. And Ross Jackson weighs in next hour on all the trade deadline rumors involving the New Orleans Saints. We'll get to that as well. We're glad you're hanging out with us here on Tuesday's AFR.
After Further Review.
Man, I can't wait till my friends over at Duplessis Builders drop this video. They just finished a gorgeous, like jaw-dropping custom pool build. And they can do that at Duplessis Builders. DuplessisBuilders.net, DuplessisBuilders.net. Any type of resort-style pool you want with any specifications, oh yeah. When you have the type of credibility, background, engineering skill that Derek Duplessis and his team have, oh yeah. They will build you that gorgeous resort-style pool at your home. They also, however, have pool options that you can pick starting as low as $49,000. So when I say there's a pool for every budget, there's a pool for every budget. You want to get on the books? Start today. DuplessisBuilders.net, DuplessisBuilders.net. Go to the website where it says pick your pool now. You can choose the specifications. You could have that done today if you want. Online at DuplessisBuilders.net.
After Further Review, powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana.
She's the only one who really understands what gets me. She thinks my tractor's sexy.
Rouse's wants to help you cover the spread this football season. We're talking the ultimate tailgate spread. Party trays, dips, fried chicken, anything you want to throw on the grill. Plus, plenty of ice cold drinks to wash it all down. All you have to do is register now at 1045ESPN.com for your chance to win. One winner will be chosen each week, and everyone who registers will be entered into a drawing for a grand prize of postseason tickets. Rouse's Markets, your tailgating headquarters.
Mel Kiper put out his first big board for the 2026 NFL Draft, and there's a heavy dose of LSU flavor. Now, remember, the big board is not a mock draft. This is ranking the top 25 players overall, and then the top 10 at each position. Interestingly, the number one player on Mel Kiper's big board is someone who was not on anybody's radar 6 weeks ago, and that's Oregon quarterback Dante Moore. 6'3". He's completing 72% of his passes, a hair under 1,400 passing yards. For context, Garrett Nussmeier right now is at 1,413 yards, 1,413 yards. Dante Moore's at 1,396. Context of what Nussmeier is doing is important at times. Jeremiah Love, running back from Notre Dame, Kiper has as number 2 on his big board, followed by Fernando Mendoza, Arvell Reese, and Peter Woods, the defensive tackle from Clemson. One of the big takeaways I have when I look at this board, Peter Woods, number 5. TJ Parker, the defensive end from Clemson, number 15. Avion Terrell, the cornerback from Clemson, number 17. The point is, people can poo-poo LSU's win at Clemson. And I understand, because they felt bad for themselves and face-planted. Not that dissimilar from what we just saw from Penn State. Hello. Dudes that are 18, 19, and 20-year-olds sometimes are an emotional wreck. Shocker. And I think that happened. Clemson got sky high, lost to LSU, struggled against Troy, then got nipped in a game against Georgia Tech where they were sloppy, play a clean game. They win that game by double digits. Instead, they're sitting there 1-2 to start the season. They mope around, and they get punked by Syracuse. They've got it together now, and they may not lose again, and they may find themselves in the ACC championship game. I don't know that at 9-3 they're going to be in the college football playoff without, but they could be a 2-loss team in the ACC championship game, and if they are, they'll have a great shot of being back in the playoff. But all that to say, there's tons of talent on that Clemson team. One that surprises me a little bit on Kiper's big board, he's got Ty Simpson 16 overall, and then he's got Lenora Sellers 21. So some of these SEC quarterbacks you might see making a push. He does not have, that's not surprising, he does not have Garrett Nussmeier in his top 25. As a matter of fact, when you look at the positional rankings, he's got Garrett Nussmeier as the 7th best quarterback on the board. So Moore, Mendoza, Simpson, Sellers, that's your top 4, then John Mateer at 5. Carson Beck, 6. Garrett Nussmeier, 7. Sam Levitt, Jaden Mayava of USC, 9. And then Drew Aller of Penn State, number 10. So if Nuss sticks there and ends up being right around the 7th best quarterback in this draft, or taken 7th, it'll be interesting to see how in demand quarterbacks are in this year's draft, because it could be like a couple of years ago where you have 5 quarterbacks taken in the top 10 picks. Or it could be a year where the cream rises and you have a couple at the top of the draft and you don't see anyone else until round 2 or 3. So it remains to be seen how the rest of the season plays out. But other than Nussmeier, there's not another offensive player from LSU on Mel Kiper's top 10 positional rankings. A little surprised not to see Braylon Moore in there. And when you look at receivers, I understand that you're seeing a bit of a it's been difficult for these receivers to find productivity because there's so many of them. But I mean, you see some mock drafts that have Aaron Anderson as a first-round pick. Obviously, Barian Brown has huge, tremendous upside there as well. Those are going to be ones worth watching with some of the skill guys. No defensive ends. That's a big, in the top 10, that's a big surprise to not see Peyton or Pyburn on a top 10 defensive end list. No defensive tackles, so no Bernard Gooden there. No off-ball linebackers, which means no Whit Weeks, which is surprising. They do have underclassmen, but he does not have Whit Weeks among the top 10 off-the-ball linebackers. And as far as outside linebackers, he rates Harold Perkins 10th as the 10th best outside linebacker in this coming draft. Mansour Delane, he's got as the third best cornerback behind Jamad McCoy of Tennessee and Avion Terrell of Clemson. So Delane third, the Brendan Cisse, who we just saw this past week from South Carolina, as the fourth best cornerback. And then with safeties, he's got A.J. Halsey as the 10th best safety in this year's draft. So for context, and I think the reason this is important to note, you wonder why some of these guys, veteran players decide in this era, the NIL rev share era, to play another year in school instead of going to the NFL. So for context, the 10th safety drafted a season ago went in round 4. So if you're A.J. Halsey, and a year ago he could have gone to the draft, but instead decides to go play at LSU and make a very healthy NIL deal to play another season and to play in the SEC and to elevate his draft stock, that's a heck of a lot better than wherever in the draft he would have gone a year ago, if at all, to now being somewhere hovering around maybe a late day 2, early day 3 pick. And even if you're not going to cash in big time as a late day 2, early day 3 pick on your rookie deal, because a team will have invested a draft pick in you, you're going to have a better opportunity of making the team and sticking around. Harold Perkins, if you look at outside linebacker / defensive ends, the 10th defensive end last year went in round 3, which might be where you see Perkins targeted for this season. Look, there's a lot of time between now and the draft at the end of April. Got half a season to play. You got Combine, Pro Day, all that stuff that's going to play itself out. But an interesting starting point here on Mel Kiper's big board for the 2024 NFL Draft. The one thing that's clear for LSU is all of the talent. It's what we've been talking about for a while. All of this talent you have invested in this roster, the money that you have invested in this roster, that's all gone after the season. So maximize it here in the second half of the year. All right, it's After Further Review. We're glad you're hanging out with us here. Brought to you by Evamore, EVAMOR, Evamore.com, Evamore.com. Drink Evamore. I get pictures almost every day from y'all. Either on my text line, Twitter, Instagram, DM, Facebook, wherever it may be. At the store, you see a pallet of Evamore, you snap a photo, you post it. Maybe you're driving in your car, you pull up into a gas station, you grab a bottle of Evamore, snap it in your cup holder. I appreciate so much y'all send them. I always send it on to my friends at Evamore, and they love to see all that stuff. Bottom line is it's delicious. It's a healthier alternative. It's natural artesian water. It's a Louisiana product. So support a great Louisiana business. Drink Evamore. EVAMOR, Evamore.com, Evamore.com. Available at great local retailers or online at Evamore.com. Okay, y'all, it's After Further Review. Todd McClure in 15 minutes. I do want to talk about this LSU offensive line. We talked to Todd in the preseason about what was realistic, how quickly that 5 new starters could come together. Now you're at the halfway point of the season. Let's assess with a guy who's in the Falcons Ring of Honor and played more than a dozen years in the NFL. We'll do that in 15 minutes from right now. All right, quick break. Muse will do Tigers and the Pros to wrap up hour number 2 next.
After Further Review.
Get Gordon and get it done. Gordon McKernan Injury Attorneys. If you've been injured in an accident, it's not your fault. Do what injured people in our state have done for 3 decades. Get Gordon and get it done. You can always go to getgordon.com, getgordon.com, getgordon.com. There's always great info on Gordon's social medias. So I always encourage you to go follow at Get Gordon on all social medias, at Get Gordon. And sometimes they'll give you, like testimonials. And Don, who's a real client, there's his testimonial that's up right now on all their social media. He was injured in a wreck with an 18-wheeler and talked about how, they had kind of been slow played and how Gordon's team went to work and went to bat for them and got them what they needed, he and his family, to get back on track to living their lifestyle. So you've been injured in an accident. Do what injured people in our state have done for 3 decades. Go to getgordon.com. Get Gordon and get it done.
After further review, powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana.
She likes the way it's pulling while we're tilling up a land. She's even
All right, wrapping up hour number 2. We're glad you're with us. Big shout out, as always, to Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana. Sunequip.com, sunequip.com. Always our pleasure to be partnered with great companies, and Sunshine is certainly that. Bunkie and below, you want a Deere, one place you're going is Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana. All right, Muso Tigers in the pros.
Tigers in the pros. They still bleed purple and gold. They're just really rich now.
Wrong fader. All right, Monday Night Football doubleheader. Jaden Daniels and the Commanders were part of the second half of that. I'd call it a so-so night for Daniels. There was good. There's also a lot of bad there for him. The good, 211 passing yards, 3 touchdowns. Solid, also ran for 52 yards. The bad is the 2 turnovers. He did throw an interception and then also lost a fumble, pretty critical one at the end of the ball game that ultimately gave the Bears the ball back in order to go and kick the game-winning field goal. It was on a fumbled exchange with running back Krosky Merritt. Jaden Daniels, after the game, talked about kind of what went wrong.
I just lost the ball. Completely my fault. Didn't give Bill a chance, so it was my fault.
It was one of 2 fumbles in the game for Jaden Daniels. The other one he just flat out dropped, but it bounced right back up to him, so he recovered. So night, plenty of yards, 3 tuds, but 2 turnovers, 1 really critical. See if he can bounce back the next week. Buffalo Bills, obviously in action as well. Boy, they took it on the chin against the Atlanta Falcons. But Tre'Davious White was out there for Buffalo. 2 tackles in the ballgame, also a pass defense. But it was really the running game that took Buffalo out, so not a lot of opportunity there for Tre'Davious White. Bills, they lost 2 in a row now, 2 straight. I'll see if they can bounce back. That's Tigers in the pros.
Presented by Rouse's, the official supermarket of the New Orleans Saints. Rouse's.com, Rouse's.com, helping you cover the spread, not the point spread, your tailgate spread all throughout the season. Saints and Tigers are both on the road this week, so maybe you're going to have a watch party at your house. 11 a.m. kickoff, meaning maybe you start early, getting something on the smoker or the grill in time for lunch to watch the Tigers whip up on the Commodores in Nashville. Rouse's has everything you want. Go to the butcher, you get some steaks, get some fish, get some ribs, whatever you want. Or if you want to let Rouse's cook for you, they can handle that as well. All your party platters and tailgate trays, they got everything you need over at Rouse's. All your beers, your bourbons, your wines, and, of course, all the beverages for the entire family. They got all your desserts. You want the purple and gold themed desserts? They got them already made. Grab and go. It's at Rouse's, the official supermarket of the New Orleans Saints. Rouse's.com, Rouse's.com. Rouse's, this feels like home. All right, it's after further review, and we're glad you're hanging out with us here. Remember, you can always email us, tweet us, or text us in the 225-396-4400, 396-4400, 396-4400. Lots of ways you can get involved in the show. If you want to opine, feel free. I will talk in about 20 minutes or so. I will have Ross Jackson here with us from LouisianaSports.net, and I want to talk with Ross about the handful of players, current Saints players, that are rumored right now for to be in the mix to potentially be shopped here at the trade deadline. So who's potentially on the trade block and who might be remaining with New Orleans, all that sort of stuff. The other thing that is sort of an interesting layer and subplot is that the Saints are going to face Dennis Allen this weekend. Dennis Allen, of course, now is the defensive coordinator with the Chicago Bears. And that's something Kellen Moore was asked about when he met with reporters on Monday.
Really stout against the run. Everything's really connected, fits really well. They play very contested football on the back end, and so, I feel like we played New Orleans at one point. It just felt like every year we were playing, we'd go up against Dennis. And so I have a ton of respect for him. I think the world of him. He does a really good job with that group. He's always done, forever. You couldn't really run the football, especially when you came down here and you had to play in the dome. And it's like, holy cow, I might run for 50 yards, and so they were battles. They're really fun battles. And so this will be fun to kind of, see what their new flavor is in Chicago. You're always evolving each and every place you go, each and every stop. It's different rosters, different constructions. And so, I think you can see their group getting better each week. And so they're going to be playing with a lot of confidence.
Speaking of Ross Jackson, his column about the, as he called it, the Dennis Allen revenge game. It's live at LouisianaSports.net. If you want to go read that, again, everything's always free at LouisianaSports.net. No paywalls, no freemium, no article limits. It's no subscriptions. Everything's free. LouisianaSports.net. But Ross has that piece up right now. But the Saints going up against their former coach in Dennis Allen. What's interesting about the Bears' defense? Look, quietly, Chicago's at 3-2, and that defense though is 27th in the NFL in scoring at 28.2 points per game. Now that's skewed because they gave up 52 in week 2 when they went to Detroit, but pretty consistently amid their 3-game winning streak, teams have been able to move the ball. Dallas scored 14, but then the Raiders and Commanders both scored 24 each of the last 2 weeks. We'll see if the Saints offense can get going against Dennis Allen. Hour 3 next.
AFR.
We're brought to you by the Williamson Eye Center, 924-2020, 924-2020, or WilliamsonEye.com. You want to see 2020, call 924-2020 for the Williamson Eye Center. Remember, they are a full-service optical shop. So we talk about the Williamson Eye Center. It's 3 things. It's eye care, eyewear, and eye surgery. You need your eye exam, they got you covered. And the Williamson Eye Center has locations all over Greater Baton Rouge. In Baton Rouge proper, Ascension, Livingston, down in the river parishes, Zachary, St. Francisville, all over. Eyewear. If you wear contacts or glasses, they can update your prescription and they can fill it, right? If you want new glasses or contacts, the Williamson Eye Center can help you there as well. And eye surgery. If you want to ditch the contacts and glasses forever, you want to wake up in the morning and see. Let Dr. Blake Williamson give you the gift of sight. Call the Williamson Eye Center and go for that consultation. 924-2020, 924-2020, or WilliamsonEye.com.